rumors that Prince Charles isn't Harry's real father but a former royal butler says they're not true. Former royal butler Paul Burrell has pushed the buttons of the British royal family by revisiting one of the most sensitive topics surrounding Prince Harry, in a bid to win ratings on Australian television. Burrell has arrived on set in South Africa as an intruder on I'm a Celebrity. Get me out of here. He was meant to introduce some class to the series lineup, but his presence ended up royally falling flat, even though he defended Princess Diana's integrity. Burrell was talking about the issue of Prince Harry's parentage again, in the year where the youngest son of Princess Diana is due to get married. Campmate Jackie Gillies asked Burrell, "Do you believe Prince Harry is Prince Charles's child?" "She didn't know James Hewitt when Harry was born," Burrell said, matter-of-factly. "That's fact. 5 years into the marriage, she had Harry. And she hadn't yet met James Hewitt." Burrell, who was married to his wife Maria for 32 years, also talked about coming out as gay and his happiness since his second marriage to his husband Graham Cooper in April last year. He said the Queen had offered him marriage advice many years ago. "I was feeding the dogs with the Queen. She had 9 corgis. She is doling out the dog meat. She looked at me and said, 'Have you ever thought about getting married, Paul?' I said, 'Why do you say that?' 'Because I've heard a rumor,' she said, Burrell told the campmates. She said, 'Look around the palace, there are a lot of lovely young girls who would make an ideal life.' Burrell said when he asked the Queen, 'Do you think it is a good way forward?' she replied, 'Marriage is a fine institution and when your children arrive you will realize how much. There is the Queen of England giving me marital advice,' Burrell said. Comedian Fiona O'Loughlin noted, Paul was tight-lipped on many things, not. With the loss of Anthony Mundine last week, the show's co-hosts attempted to recycle one of their favorite lines for the new arrivals from Britain. "They have created a royal rumble in the jungle," Chris Brown managed to declare with a straight face. Problem is, most of the campmates initially had no idea who Burrell was, let alone his fellow British intruder Vicky Pattinson. View image on Twitter. It was only when campmate Josh Gibson politely asked, "So Paul, what do you do?" that Burrell began name-dropping his previous connection to Princess Diana and the British royal family. Gillies shrieked out loud when she realized his royal connection. Clearly this time around she had received no early psychic messages from the spirit world. Simone Holtznagel, who was hanging on every word of Burrell's royal stories, said, "I am so glad Paul is here, I am obsessed with him." Pattinson arrived on set with the air of someone who is really famous elsewhere and expects, deep down, everyone to know it. They didn't. She did, however, win the British series in 2015 and appears to have been included for light relief, if that's what bad jokes about plastic surgery are meant to represent. Pattinson is particularly keen on talking about herself in the third person. "What this camp needed was a boob job. Vicky Pattinson, human boob job," she said. "All engines going on charisma." Pattinson later admitted she couldn't understand a word Shannon Noel was saying. "Shannon is really hard to understand," she said. Burrell said, "You have to listen carefully, is that really broad Australian?" Clearly, it was taking a while for the Brits to settle in. Not everyone was thrilled about their arrival. "What's your name?" said a bemused Kerry Armstrong to Pattinson. "I couldn't help but notice a frisson of caution there from Kerry," said the show's host Julia Morris. "We were both on the UK version of this," Pattinson said, telling the other contestants she won a series. "I'll be just as grubby as you guys in no time as all." She arrived as a bubbly, plastic fantastic addition to the show, but also quickly showed a vulnerable side after discussing the topic of alcoholism with Fiona O'Loughlin. Pattinson admitted her own father is an alcoholic who is still undergoing treatment in the UK. "You wonder if this person will ever get better. Will I end up the same? Is my dad ever going to turn his life around? And be the bloke I used to know," Pattinson said. "Why doesn't he love us enough to stop?" she said in tears. Pattinson said she wondered if it was the reason she had agreed to appear on another version of I'm a Celebrity. "Get me out of here," was because she found the experience addictive.